Hello and welcome back to INMR, where in today's podcast I'm going to be explaining how Riccardo Calafiori is going to take Arsenal to the next level this season. Calafiori enjoyed a brilliant season in the Serie A before cementing himself as a top talent at Euro 2024 with Italy. Now Arsenal have bought him for 42 million and their defence looks absolutely ridiculous, but what does Calafiori actually bring to Arteta's side? And where will he be played come the start of the season? I'll be answering all that and more in this podcast, so let's get straight into it. Although we knew that this transfer was always going to happen since the conclusion of the Euros, there have been delays with the move due to Calafiori's previous clubs disagreeing on the sell-on clauses. Arsenal and Bologna have had a deal agreed for some time now, and personal terms between the club and the player have been done for a long time too. The issue has lied between Basel and Roma, his previous teams. Reports have suggested that Basel agreed a 50% sell-on clause with Bologna when they sold him, meaning that they're going to receive about 20 million of the total fee. However, Basel also agreed to give Roma 40% of their share of that profit, meaning that they'll lose 7 million of their 20. Roma were reportedly preparing to take legal action against Basel, who at the time weren't willing to hold up their end of the bargain. However, last night, Fabrizio Romano announced the transfer as a here we go, which means it's probably all settled now, seeing as Arsenal are about to announce this move. So, why did Calafiori catch Arsenal's attention? It's no secret that Bologna massively overperformed last season by qualifying for the Champions League, so other European clubs were bound to try and poach their key players. Arsenal saw that Calafiori was a focal point of Bologna's success and began taking a look. It's the same reason that Manchester United have just signed Joshua Zirkzee. In the Serie A last season, Calafiori saved Bologna on plenty of occasions by winning crucial duels. His duel success rate was 63%, and he also won 68% of his tackles and averaged 7.43 recoveries per 90. Calafiori doesn't just win the ball back though, it's the areas in which he's doing it which is really impressive. He was in the top 25% of defenders in the league last season for tackles in the attacking third. He contributes loads going forward despite being a centre-half, as you can see by this ball progression graphic. This is from the Serie A season, but at Euro 2024 it was more of the same. He averaged the most carries into the final third out of any defender with 2.67 per 90. He also ranked in the top 5% or better in plenty of other attacking metrics. Calafiori's tendency to drive into the midfield is also really positive. He has said that his style of play is very close to John Stones and that he uses the English defender as a reference point. Overall, he's a very versatile ball-playing defender, which Arteta loves, so it's clear to see why Arsenal have been so desperate to add Calafiori to the squad for the upcoming season. So, in terms of what Calafiori can provide for Arsenal, he's going to provide a dynamic defensive presence due to his capabilities in all areas of the pitch. His ball carrying ability and incredible passing range means that he can create opportunities from deeper areas. This is highlighted by his 80% long pass completion rate at the Euros. He'll also boost Arsenal's ability to maintain possession. He was in the top 7% of defenders for progressive carries per 90 last season, with an average distance of 154 yards per game in the league. He can also be a great creative outlet when needed to. He got 5 assists last year and made 17 key passes. Defensively, his anticipation, aerial ability and just overall reading of the game will help develop Arsenal's backline further, allowing more domination against their opponents in the Premier League. The Italian's versatility is going to play a huge part in transitions this season, particularly from defence to attack. When in possession, Calafiori switches the play well and breaks lines with forward passes. He always aims to be positive with the ball when he receives it, by either linking up with teammates higher up the pitch or just bursting into them attacking areas on his own. Out of possession, he's a very aggressive front-footed defender. Last season, his ability to read the game was highlighted as one of his best qualities. He ranked in the top 7% for interceptions per 90 in the Serie A and in the top 4% for passes blocked. The biggest talking point around Calafiori is whether he is a left-back or a centre-back. The reason this is such a big talking point is because Arsenal already have two outstanding centre-backs in Gabriel and Saliba, and Arteta's weakest point defensively has been left-back, and although Calafiori is able to play there, he has been far better in his career since playing in a more central role. He made the positional switch from left-back to centre-back at Basel, and last season at Bologna he was barely used at left-back. But nobody owns that left-back role at Arsenal, so we could see Arteta take the same approach Guardiola took with Gvardiol last season. Calafiori's technical quality and crossing ability would suggest that he certainly could be that solution at left back, but in my opinion, it's not where you're going to get the most out of him. For Arsenal to win a title, it's definitely an improvement to a key position, but they did just spend £40 million on a defender, and if that's just to play him out of position, that just doesn't seem quite right to me. But Man City did pay double that, and Guardiola found success by doing it with Gvardiol. It did take a while though, and I would suggest we haven't seen the best of the Croatian yet in a City shirt. If Arteta does choose to play Calafiori centrally, this will put pressure on Gabriel's starting spot. So here is how they compare in key stats. And Calafiori dominates that, with only ground duel success being something that Gabriel has one-upped him on. He's also been compared with 4 other top Premier League centre-backs where he seems to fare well. The only defender comfortably beating him is Virgil van Dijk. However, obviously the standard in the Premier League is a lot higher than Serie A, so him bettering defenders like Diaz, Braithwaite and Van de Ven isn't a definitive indication of how Calafiori is going to get on. So overall, Calafiori's move to Arsenal is set to really boost their defence, and I do think he's going to be a great fit for Arteta's squad. Whether he ends up as a centre-back or fills in at left-back, his addition is going to give Arsenal an even more solid defence, as well as offer more creative options from deep. And in my opinion, £42 million for a player of this level and potential is going to turn out to be a great value deal. That is where I'm going to end today's podcast, but there's plenty of others you can go and watch, like the one you can see on screen now. I've also got a website where I write match reports, analysis pieces, club news, and so much more. If you just search inmr.journalist.co.uk, you can have access to all of my articles. And if that's not enough, you can find even more content on both the INMR Instagram and X page. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.